Hey guys, Harry Thomas here, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my ranking of the seven Pixar movies of the 2020s decade, all the post Toy Story 4 Pixar installments. And Pixar is still hailed as uh, one of the big three animation studios, along with Walt Disney Animation Studios and DreamWorks Animation. And even though uh, not all of their movies have uh, gotten the acclaim that they once is in this decade. I think Pixar are still far from going downhill and have still very much got it. And uh, even if, of course, some movies in this decade they've made have been stronger than others. So, and I just feel, but I do feel especially sorry for Pixar because three of their movies during the COVID pandemic uh, were released at the worst time and during lockdown, and therefore Disney made them skip cinemas and just put them straight to Disney Plus, which hurt Pixar as a studio financially in the long run. So thank heavens this year, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red are have been given a cinematic releases again to make up for that, and so Pixar can make their money back because they really they deserve all the help they can get. So without further ado, if you want to know my ranking of the seven Pixar movies of the 2020s, then just keep watching. At number seven, what is clearly the worst Pixar movie of the 2020s, Lightyear. Ah, you know, Andy, I find it hard to believe that this is your favorite movie and this was the movie that inspired you to want a Buzz Lightyear action figure because this is by far the worst Toy Story movie, and you can see why it's Pixar's biggest box office bomb to date. And I mean, it's a Lightyear movie could have been downright epic. We could have had something as awesome as the 90s Buzz Lightyear movie and TV show, the hand drawn one. That is the true representation of Buzz Lightyear. We could have had something as exhilarating as the ride in Disneyland, Buzz Lightyear's laser blast. But instead, we get this snore fest with Buzz and a talking cat and a completely forgettable team of Star Command space rangers. Chris Evans ain't no Tim Allen, and that Zerg twist just pissed me off. I'm sorry. It was Rex's twist from Lego Movie 2 just done horribly. And this did not feel like a Pixar movie at all. At number six, Luca. Please go easy on me. I get that's Luca does uh, have its lovers, but I wouldn't say Luca is the classic that some claim it to be. Like, it deserved a cinematic release 100%, don't get me wrong. There was no excuse to not release this in theaters in summer 2021. If Cruella and Godzilla versus Kong and Peter Rabbit 2 could get cinematic releases, so could Luca. But this feels like just a cheaper version of Little Mermaid. I mean, the the entire concept with sea monsters are coming to land and seeing what life is like on land is a charming concept. And yes, this movie has its charm, and it will make you want to buy a Vespa, want to make you eat the Italian pasta recipe. That suspicious cat was my favorite parts of the movie. But I found the movie was uh, overly light-hearted for Pixar standards. There was no moments that got me that emotionally welling up, and the antagonist, one of the weakest, most disposable Pixar villains I've ever seen. Just a generic town bully, and while I uh, do love the lush water effects in the animation, I'm not the biggest fan of the character designs. They look too googly eyed and too child friendly. At number five, Onward, and now uh, I in no way, shape, or form think Onward is uh, underwhelming, despite its uh, uh, being in the lower end of this ranking. Onward is still a criminally underrated Pixar movie that nobody talks about anymore. Seriously, there aren't enough videos on social media talking about how underrated and how uh, beautiful and moving this movie is. Like Dan Scanlon, he you can see how this story of him longing to he wished he could have spent more time with his father. You can see that shine through the this film, and when you have MCU stars Tom Holland and Chris Pratt as two elf brothers, yeah, it's a match made in heaven. And Laurel Lightfoot, their mother, is probably the most underrated Pixar mother character I have ever seen, and she risks life and limb to save her sons in this movie. And the Manticore, voiced by Octavia Spencer, yeah, she was also a wonderful companion for Laurel on their quest, and the entire world this movie takes place in, combining fantasy with reality. That gave me Wizarding World vibes, which is right up my stream. So uh, and anybody who agrees Onward deserves more love, and Onward should have gotten longer in theaters. I am on the same boat with. I mean, fuck COVID for making this movie's theatrical run far too short. Like at number four, Soul, uh, the second Pixar movie we got in 2020, and yeah, sadly, the first Pixar movie to ever skip theaters. It was soul crushing news for us all, no pun intended. But I mean, but Soul is yet another groundbreaker in animation for Pete Docter, the current CEO of Pixar. While this would rank in the middle of his filmography for me, just behind Monsters Inc. and Inside Out, but Soul still it really it warms and touches your soul when you watch it. Joe Gardner goes on a literal life and death spiritual journey where both in his physical form and in spiritual form, where he realizes not to take the little things in his life for granted, and to not just base his existence on his dream of being in a band, and the uh, and the entire the entire concept of this movie is far more adult than the majority of other Pixar films. It tones down the comedy and in favor of the drama and the message that it's telling, and plus they nailed the tone of New York, I've gotta say. At number three, Elemental. Special shout out to Frozen Things Studios. This still remains his favorite Pixar movie, and uh, I don't blame him. Elemental is flat out excellent and is still underrated. I mean, sure, it's got a positive enough reception, but people don't regard it as one of Pixar's greats when they really should. This and The Good Dinosaur are worlds between. Peter Songer could not have improved more as a filmmaker, and it helps that he based this one on his personal immigration background. Ember being one of the most gorgeous and talented and sympathetic Pixar leads that we've ever had. Like how she learns that honesty is the best policy when it comes to being torn between her decision to please her father by running the shop in Firetown, or to go with Wade and his family to follow her dream of making glass. Element City is such a vibrant world. It's Zootopia just with elements, and the themes of discrimination in this movie are shockingly dark by family movie standards. Wade's death is a underrated Pixar a tear-jerky ending. Well, his almost death, and Thomas Newton's score is one of his best he has ever composed, and steal the show. What a superb Pixar end credit song. At number two, the current box office juggernaut, which Pixar hasn't had in 5 years since Toy Story 4, Inside Out 2. If you thought it couldn't get much better than the first Inside Out, so well, just you wait for Inside Out 2, because you are not prepared emotionally for what's to come. Check out my review for my full thoughts, but let's just say Anxiety is the Ken of 2024, and yes, they do play the triple net gum commercial, so you won't be disappointed by that. Certainly ranked this one higher than I predicted I was, but this would be my favourite Pixar movie this decade, if not for a one which I can relate to on an extremely personal level. My number one favourite Pixar movie of the 2020s decade is the Pixar movie that did the unthinkable, topped Monsters Inc. as my favourite Pixar movie in general, Turning Red. I mean, what a terrific masterpiece of animation. I mean, uh, yeah, and Turning Red was the Pixar movie that deserved the cinematic release, not Lightyear. Clearly, like Domi, she uh, did uh, brilliantly directing the short before Incredibles 2. But so with Turning Red, her directorial debut, she took her filmmaking talent to the next level. And this is very much a story based on her personal life, of how she starts out super close to her mum, like May in this movie, but then grew closer to her friends and became more obsessed with boy bands as she entered her teens. And this, any, any teen girl who has just got their period and is going through this, so this will be like their comfort movie, and this this movie is shockingly underappreciated. Like it deserves. I wish it would get the recognition it deserves. If it wasn't for Del Toro's Pinocchio, I'm sure this would have taken home Best Animated Feature 2022. As I mean, a girl who transforms into a red panda, and I mean, how just how incredibly imaginative is that concept? I mean, and plus this is a Pixar movie taking place in the 2000s in Canada, like a highly original location, and there is no other animated movie like Turning Red, and it's and I know Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, a year after this did this kind of mother and daughter story, but I think Turning Red did it even better. And Turning Red, I honestly told a more profound mother and daughter story than even Brave, another underrated gem from Pixar. And not to mention the Four Town songs in this movie make for Pixar's most ridiculously satisfying soundtrack uh, that I've ever heard. Like whenever I hear "I never met nobody like you," I mean, I just fanboy and fangasm out when the music enters my ear canal. Uh, so yeah, I'm proud to call Turning Red the best Pixar movie at the 2020s decade. So that was my ranking of the 2020s Pixar movies, and I may be tempted to do a ranking for the 2020s DreamWorks movies. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. And what's your ranking of the Pixar movies that we've had this decade? I can't wait to see if your list, well, is on the same wavelength or entirely different to mine. Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I review Doctor Who Series 14. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.